Storms are intended to bring life. And storms are the only thing that allow our roots to grow deeper and allow flowers to find their color. When I was 7 years old, my older brother was diagnosed with brain cancer. And my brother went through several chemo and radiation treatments, and he had a brain operation. Once we walked through that journey, we hoped and prayed that it would never happen again. Sometime later, when I was in college, I had received a phone call from my parents that I had least expected. And that was that my dad was diagnosed with throat cancer. And once again, we hoped that that wouldn't happen again. I received another phone call, and that was that my younger brother was diagnosed with testicular cancer. I just couldn't believe that once again that word had come into our lives. And once more we hoped that it would never, ever happen again. A few years after that, we discovered that my older brother's brain tumors had returned. And we had been there before, that feeling of waiting and wondering the toll that it was going to take and wondering how he was going to come out of that operation. And he did come out of it, although there was another MRI to see how he had progressed. And it turns out a couple of years after that, another tumor had returned. So another time in that operating room, another period of waiting to see how he was gonna fare. There's this heaviness still when it comes to cancer, but all the more so because we just found out that my mom has cancer. I was just sitting at my piano to try and put words and a melody to what I was experiencing. And I was looking outside and just noticed that the grass was really in need of some rain and just really in need of some vibrancy and life. And you could look off into the distance and see that these dark storm clouds were coming through. There was this anticipation with it. You knew that that rain was needed and you wanted it to come closer. But at the same time, there was an eeriness. The colors that loomed over the earth, just casting shadows and darkness. Even though you knew that rain was needed, you at the same time didn't want it to come. That, in essence, is what I was feeling in these storms that we were going through, and every single one, even if the response was different, even if the circumstances surrounding it was different, it was a storm that we had no idea what the outcome would be. And I don't think that God at all delights in our heartache. And He doesn't delight in watching us struggle through the storms. But I think He does delight in our sustenance. Storms will still hurt. And we will always be faced with not knowing the devastation coming out of them. But that doesn't change the fact that God is still good. And there's no storm that could devastate that truth.